All right, now that some of the sheen has worn off the sword and shield, it's time to find out what you all thought about Pokemon's new reveal. We've given you an extensive take on how we feel about the games, the graphics, the comparisons, the starters. Now let's take it to your side of the neighborhood.
Zach, which one of us lives on the right side of the tracks? Is it us or them?
Oh gosh, I feel like you and I don't even live on the same side of the tracks. We're so far away. There's so much space here. There's such a gap. You and I are like two separate versions of Pokemon.
Did you know that a lot of people
Pokemon Zach
think...
and Pokemon Gabe?
Did you know that a lot of people think we record in the same room? Did you know that?
I wish we did, man.
Yeah, I wish.
It's like a dream of mine.
One day.
Getting to constantly stare at your beautiful beard while we record. Okay, let's back on track. Pokemon Sword and Shield fan reactions. I was surprised, I think, to see how our comments played out. We captured comments from all of our Pokemon videos thus far, and here's what you guys had to say about the starters, about the games, about the graphics, about your level of enthusiasm, your level of disappointment, and I gotta say, I am surprised.
I'm never surprised, especially like by this. Like, you fans react exactly how I expect you to react. If I had a trap to lay out for you, you would fall for it.
Gabe's got you all figured out, which is a little creepy, but let's get into the first comment. Thanks so much, by the way, for everybody who participates in these discussions. We love reading through all of your comments, so keep them coming. Foxy the Pirate Fox HP says, I am going to wait to see the starters' evolutions are shown to choose my starter, which I like this train of thought, and I feel like it applies to this gen as much as ever before.
Okay, this is where I think that Score Bunny is a little bit of a sleeper, maybe a Trojan horse of some kind, right? Because to me, he is like super underwhelming as just what we've seen now, because Sobble is just cute as all hell. So I think that Score Bunny's evolution is just to be super epic, dude.
I wonder, and I feel like that is going to be how I also frame my starter choice based on what they become. And I think it's interesting because Sobble is definitely like, that's the one I see referenced the most. But TD Billy 89 said, guess I'm the only person who likes Score Bunny. And Chuck Carlos replied saying, bruh, they are wrong. The bunny is more popular. The water Pokemon is actually second. And after reading this, I went and I started like searching around. And even though Sobble just has a hold, I'm now seeing like tons of Score Bunny love.
I remember Cerebi, the person who, I think his name is Joe Merrick, the guy who runs Cerebi. He says that based off traffic for Cerebi.net, Sobble is the most popular, and yes, Score Bunny is second.
I am seeing a lot of Score Bunny love, though. A lot of people are really into the whole bunny thing.
I like bunnies. Have you ever had a bunny before? I had a pet bunny once.
I have not. Like, I talk about this a lot, and this is a complete aside, but like, I've only had traditional pets. I've had dogs and cats. No gerbils, no guinea pigs, no, what are those things called? Hermit crabs, no bunnies, just like the straight up canines and felines.
Sure. I'm the closest thing to a hermit that you have.
My little pet Gabe. But yeah. ZB doesn't want to know about the evolutions, and this to me is going to be real interesting, Gabe, because like in the modern era, in an era when trailers give you the beginning, the middle, and the end of every movie, and video games sometimes reveal the coolest features before you even have a chance to touch the controller, ZB says, am I the only one relieved that they didn't show us any new Pokemon aside from the starters? I kind of want to discover them when I get the game. I only wish to see the legendaries now.
ZB, I'm right with you. Whatever side of the tracks you're on, that's the one I'm on. But it's not happening, dude. I think we're going to see the evolutions, unfortunately. Dude, that's just part of the culture that we're in. We're going to get shown way too much. I wish that they would limit stuff like that. How cool would it be that your Sobble evolves hack and you don't know what it's going to evolve into? Like, that would be so cool, right?
I think it's fantastic, and I would love to see, as more and more companies shrink their hype cycle, I'd love to see the surprise factor increase, right? Those should be kind of like inverse functions, and I wish that it would go that way. Obviously, you need to show things to entice people and get them going, but I would much rather just be blown away on day one of like, who do I find, what's within the game, and then choosing Sobble or Score Bunny becomes even more alluring because it's like, okay, what am I going to get? It's like a Wonder Ball. You don't know what's going to be in the center.
Yeah, I want that Wonder Ball.
Do you ever have Wonder Ball?
No.
No?
I don't know what a Wonder Ball is.
Oh my goodness, get on Google after this video, Gabe. Sam Soul Hoke says they're struggling with designing the starters because they keep limiting themselves to fire, water, and grass. And this is something I saw a lot, that hoping finally they would have expanded beyond and given us 3 off-brand elements. And it wasn't going to happen because this is what the Pokemon Company does, but that would have been so cool if we got totally different types for the 3 starter Pokemon.
Wait till Gen 10 or Gen X, whatever they end up calling it. That's when they'll have like some like dramatic shift.
Maybe?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Maybe? Hector kind of feels like that as well. He says, Pokemon Sword and Shield looks good, another step forward, but not enough to be blown away. Looks like we will get the Pokemon game we all want in 2030. It just looks like the same formula, a little bit better every generation, and that's good, but not great. I want them to take risks. And this was a super common sentiment that, oh my gosh, everyone was prepared for something new. You know, it's the first one designed, you know, natively for the Switch. It's not a retread like Let's Go, and yet it looks so similar.
This is a little confusing to me. I wasn't around. I mean, I was around. I just didn't care to look. Like, I didn't participate in the hype cycle for any of the older like games. Let's Go was the first time that I kind of took part in it. So I wonder if this is always a sentiment, right? Because people still end up buying the games and loving the games for the most part. I don't know how the hardcore feel about, you know, Black and White or some of the less popular ones that I've heard. I don't even know. Maybe people do love those. But is this something that happens like every single cycle? Every time there's a new generation, like people are disappointed and then they play it and then they love it? Like, is that a thing?
I would guess for a subset. I mean, the interesting thing is you've got the people that say like, oh, I wish it was more different. And then you've got the people that say, no, like Pokemon's formula is what makes it Pokemon and that shouldn't change. And Game Freak, Pokemon Company, and Nintendo are aware of that. And this time, though, I feel like it tipped, at least based on what we've seen, at least based on our comments, it tipped much more in the direction of like, we were expecting more. The Switch has set so many new standards for franchises. And yes, we have not played the games, so we don't know. But based on the trailer, I feel like most people are taking the side of this isn't really living up to what we expected from something brand new and a new foray into this world. It just merely feels like the next step of the 3DS games.
Well, I mean, 3-year wait in between generations, people's expectations were at an all-time high. We got Let's Go as a stopgap. They're like, no, the next one is going to be like the one that's for us. And I mean, this is for you, but this is the same stuff that's been for you, I guess. You know, I just hope that structurally they do some different things as well. I mean, yeah, the starters, some people are underwhelmed by. I think the people that are super underwhelmed by the starters are kind of fooling themselves because these are cute, just like a lot of the other ones. I went back and saw all the starters before. These don't seem that underwhelming to me once I've seen everything else. The starters that I missed along the way, like this isn't egregious to me the way it is for a lot of people.
When you've got 3 Powerpuff Girls as the starters, you know, how can you complain? But I didn't pull any comments that said this, but it was a very common sentiment of like, Breath of the Wild, yeah, right. And I typically take the approach of, oh gosh, if they don't show it, it's probably not there. And I take like the pessimistic and sort of like lowering my hype. But this time I tried to say, okay, there are a lot of like new hints, and maybe this does really expand on the structure. And it seemed like the general reaction was like, nope, if it's not. It's going to be the same structure. It's back to random battles. It's a very linear looking region and map. There doesn't seem to be any freedom of camera or of pathing or of movement. I'm still hopeful that something shows up, but Zycerang comes in with a thought that is probably why it will be similar. He says, at this point, I'd play any Pokemon game in the main game series. They could make a Pokemon fridge and table version, and as long as it plays like the other main games, I'm buying it day one.
This is why, man.
Yeah.
There's some hardcore that are getting it no matter what. And I know we don't like to think about it this way, but companies are businesses, right? These companies aren't here to please you. They're here to make money. And if they can invest the least amount of money by sticking to what they know and keeping the structure the same and not have to spend so much more money on paying people to think of new creative ways because they know you'll buy it if they keep doing the old ways, they'll do it because it's cheaper for them. And I'm not saying that's what Game Freak's doing. or the Pokemon Company. I'm not saying they're greedy or anything like that, but if we stop and look about it in a business perspective, it makes sense to keep doing things the way your audience has proven that they like before, because that is what guarantees you the most success.
I do wonder when the scales tip, if they tip. It feels to me like this is the tipping point, and I think, hey, if Gen 8 comes out and has some moderate changes, I think it's going to be received incredibly well. But I do feel that if Gen 8 comes out and it is super standard, I think this is where that balance begins to change. And I think there is a little bit, not from everyone, but I think there's going to be a little bit more pushback than we've seen in the past, just because.
But remember the pushback for Let's Go, dude. Like, that game still sold really well. Like,
oh, I'm not saying it's going to sell like hotcakes. It'll be Nintendo's, jewel of their fall crown. But the more platforms that you move through, and the more, remember, Gabe, this is them charging $60 for Pokemon. It's the second time because of Let's Go, but in the main series, it's the first time. And if there are not going to be major shifts, and people are paying $60, and it's on a console, and it's on the TV, at some point they're going to expect more. At some point, they're going to expect more, and I think this might be the turning point. Pretentious Carrot, amazing name, by the way. Goodness gracious. Are carrots pretentious?
Yeah.
In general?
Yes.
Inherently?
Absolutely, especially those baby carrots.
Is a carrot a pretentious vegetable? Anyway,
yeah.
They say a bit of a disappointment on my part. I expected a huge open world, free camera Pokemon game, but it's just a Sun and Moon HD. I don't know, the starters kind of look like Fakemon. I do like the green monkey, though. Anyone else feel similar? And a lot of people did.
He likes Grookey so much that he doesn't even know his name.
Yeah, I mean, HD version of Sun and Moon, that was a real sentiment. I thought, and I think you thought as well, like, wow, the graphics look pretty cool. It looks like a big step up. But I was shock-waved to see so many people being like, Let's Go looked better. Let's Go was a cleaner aesthetic. Let's Go was more put together.
No. Those are just like wrong. Like I did like the I did the graphics comparison. Like you see the cave in Let's Go, it's just like all like the same, like brown, like everywhere. There's like no detail to it. And then you see the cave in Gen 8 with Sword and Shield, and you see like gems all over the place. You see different lighting as the cave like gets like deeper, things like that. The water looks realistic. There are like changes just like visually. It's not like hyper realistic, and yes, people are disappointed that it's not Pokemon or the Wild, but that's on us for expecting that, or I didn't expect that, but it's on the people that expect it. That's on you, unfortunately.
It does look blurry though. The textures are not
oh
great.
Dude, it's a Switch, because remember, look, yeah, the environments are way bigger, right? It's not like it's a bigger scale, so yes, like there's more detail, but yeah, the textures are gonna be like washed. I was gonna say wishy-washy. I got Pokemon on my mind. The textures are gonna be washed out. It can't do like anything like crazy.
But dude, Breath of the Wild, look at that. It looks fantabulous. Mario Odyssey looks superb. Splatoon 2 looks great. You don't have to do it this way. That is going to, if that's the excuse that's going to be made, you don't have to do something that shows the weakness of the system.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair, I guess. I think it looks way better than Let's Go, personally. I mean, it's a personal opinion thing. Like, maybe you just like the art style of Let's Go a little bit more, which is fine. I have no issue with that, but I like the way it looks.
I saw a lot of people referencing Wind Waker and saying like how that holds up through time because it is stylized and clean versus more like blurry. I don't know. As soon as someone said the textures are so bad, that's all I can see. And I wanted to bring in our good friend Imran Khan, who has been in the Switch sphere a lot lately, giving rumored details. He's a senior editor over at Game Informer, and he said, I am fine with the way Pokemon Sword and Shield look, in that I ultimately am not incensed about it, but I am disappointed. I think graphically it looks pretty bad. Hopefully the final game looks fairly different from the revealed trailer.
Wait,
the game is out.
It won't look different. Like maybe like textures will be like a little sharper and stuff, but the game's not gonna look different now.
Yeah, the game's out in like 8 months. So people saying like, oh, just relax, it's a trailer. Like, I mean, maybe there's some graphical polish, but I can't get it out of my head that it looks blurry, and like the lines around like Pikachu, people pointing those out, like. It's not as
that's just
modern looking as like Let's Go.
No, that's just a stylistic choice, like because they're going a little bit more animated, like it's shaded a little bit differently. It's the exact same Pikachu model. It's just like shaded differently. It's like a little bit more anime style.
And that's what people were saying is like comparing it to Let's Go isn't the appropriate comparison. You should compare it back to Gen 7, and that should help determine what you
Yeah,
think.
well, that wasn't on 3DS, so that'll be like tricky.
But it does look like a up-res version of that. Anyhow, Christopher Stitch kind of comes in and says, Gen 8 does not look better than Let's Go. Let's Go has a much more stylized look, and although less detailed, creates a higher quality look. I know nothing is final yet, but Gen 8 looks clunky and mismatched.
Yeah, I'm surprised. And I think the reason I'm not like that bothered by it is because I haven't played Pokemon other than Let's Go in a long time. So that's why, to me, I'm like excited. And anyone that's like been away from Pokemon for a while, it seems like they're excited. I think it's just a really hardcore. They're like really underwhelmed. So that's why I'm like excited for it, because I haven't been in a new region of Pokemon in a very long time. So I'm pumped, and I don't think that's going to change. So yeah, that's kind of tricky, but yeah.
I love that this is bringing back positive vibes for Let's Go, because Let's Go went from like high on the mountaintop to like pretty after it actually came out. But Chris Peach is looking at it with those rose-colored glasses, or I guess now sword and shield colored glasses, saying, funnily enough, this side-by-side comparison just made me love Let's Go even more than this new linear, boring random battle game. The textures are simpler, but I would take simple and timeless over this blocky 3DS garbage on my Switch.
God, people are mad. I don't know.
I don't
know.
Gabe, I've got a follow-up though that is like super cool though. I thought this was one of the best takes I saw all week, and it's from Careless Gamers TV, and they're talking about why no following, why random battles, why some of the stuff actually might be a good thing, and it ties back into not wanting to know exactly what we're getting. They say Pokemon following you around and being seen in the wild in Let's Go made sense because those are the old games. We already know what Pokemon are in those regions, and even though it got boring seeing 20 Rattatas on screen at once, this style makes more sense in a new title because the sheer surprise of discovering a new Pokemon in an area where you didn't expect them to be makes it so much more exciting.
I saw multiple people say that, and it's a perfect point. Imagine, right? Let's say there's 100 new Pokemon. We don't know how many there will be, but let's say it's 100. You're going to get all of those spoiled just by seeing them out in the wild, and I guess that's a little surprise in itself, too. But having the battle animation start, right? You're in the tall grass, and then the grass zooms in the way it does for, at least it did in the trailer, like it zoomed in. There's like grass flying everywhere, and you see like the silhouette of Pikachu. We're not going to know what some of these Pokemon are, so seeing like silhouettes of like whatever the next Pokemon is to be, like that's going to be so exciting. Yeah, this is a great point.
I do think it's a great point, but for me personally, I have to disagree and say that seeing a Pokemon I've never seen before roaming off in the distance would be just as or more exhilarating for me. Like seeing something like, oh my goodness, there's a weird shark tree monster over there. What the heck is that? I want to go get it versus it popping up. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of this is the angel on one shoulder, the devil on the other, and trying to wrestle with like, it's not as different as we wanted, but that's a good thing. But there's some elements from before that are right to keep, and there's new elements that we don't really like anyways, and people criticize Let's Go for switching it up, so we want it to be, I don't know, I feel like it's this constant battle of like justifying the lack of change, or the perceived lack of change.
Yeah, but all these people hated Let's Go, and now they love it. Like honestly, and I hate to say it, I think it's just people wanting to be contrarians on purpose. Like like it kind of feels like that sometimes, right? Because I felt positive about Let's Go, and a lot of other people like hated it. They're like, no, like this is so boring. How dare they do away with random battles and like stuff like that? And like now saying, oh, like random battles are back. That sucks. Like,
But could it be a case of two games where Let's Go was supposed to be a blast from the past, and therefore maintaining those old elements would have been more fitting, whereas this is supposed to be the leap forward, and thereby new elements would be more welcome here?
I guess. I think it's just a case of it's impossible to please everyone no matter what you do.
I do think that erring on the side of new would have been better here, and I wish that they would have gone further. There's still a lot to be revealed, but the more and more I see the trailer, the more and more I see people's sentiments, I wish they would have gone further. ZXCNJFRSFG says, it's buyable. They work for so long, and this is what they produce? A high-res 3DS game? Could have gone so much further with this.
Agreed.
Not really a whole lot to say there. It does sort of seem that way, and we've said this from the beginning. It makes Town so potentially exciting.
Yeah.
Because if that's where they go crazy,
I mean, they're a Japanese company, right? Tradition is very important to them. They do things a certain way. They don't have a lot of dramatic shifts. So, I mean, unfortunately, it's just kind of how they've been. And the other thing is they've been like this for decades. So why do we expect anything different now? I mean,
because this is coming to console, and this is coming to a new gen, and this is charging $60.
Sure.
I don't know. I hope that, we've seen a few Pokemon. We have seen very little of the world. I hope that when we get the full experience, because honestly, in the mines, I think that looks so cool. And some people say, no, it still doesn't look good. It just looks like, an up-res 3DS. I think that does look cool. And so I'm hoping that, the environments are still more complex during the battle scenes. There's still a lot going on. And I hope that when we get a chance to actually go hands-on, that changed things dramatically. Remember that moment, Gabe? Remember E3 2018 when we first played Let's Go, and both of us were like, yikes. And then we played and we were like, oh my god, Pokemon out there makes such a difference. The art style, it may not look like it in trailers, but we promise you it's so immersive and it's so exciting when you see it, and it feels like the best realization of Pokemon. So this could be a similar case where once we actually get to play it, the tide does turn a bit.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. E3, this summer. It'll be what decides how I'm going to feel about the game going forward, because even though I sound I'm not disappointed as much as you guys, I'm disappointed that we don't have a ton of new stuff, but getting it in my hand is going to be vital. I want to see how capturing Pokemon works. Am I still going to have to swing a Joy-Con at the Switch? I don't want to do that as much anymore. So there's still a lot that I need to see and experience for myself. I'm going to withhold too much judgment until I play it.
Comment of the day from Misa, and it's something I didn't think about until I saw it. I hope you're able to play using the Pro Controller. If they do the single Joy-Con only again, that's a skip for me.
Not a skip for me, but I really want to play with the Pro Controller, please.
Do you think they do it? Do you think they let us use the Pro Controller this time?
Yeah, I think so.
I would imagine so, right? I feel like a lot of the motion stuff is going to be minimized or completely eradicated, and therefore Pro Controller should be a perfect fit.
Yeah, I really, really think so. Again, not a skip for me, but I will be slightly upset if I can't play with the Pro Controller.
Plus, I feel like they're going to do either, whether it's Joy-Con or Pro Controller, I feel like they're going to do something for this one.
Yeah. Something.
Monolith Fan says, I would love to have the Let's Go graphics, but have it be completely open world like Breath of the Wild. Sadly, neither game meets my standards for Switch games. And this is what I was talking about a few minutes ago. It's like Let's Go is old, but with new elements. It seems like Sword and Shield are going to be new, but with old elements. And maybe it's just a misfiring of they're just not shooting the right shots.
No. I have a question. I already know the answer. You're picking Sword, right? Not Shield? If you're only going to buy one?
I think, that was my initial take, but everyone's picking Sword, so I might go Shield just to be weird.
You're going to be the only person that buys Shield?
The only person? Yeah. I do feel like this is a case where the Sword sales will be incredibly...
Like double.
Yeah. Much larger than Shield.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I guess it's interesting also because the logos don't really highlight or showcase any.
Yeah. I mean, we won't know until we see the legendary. Yeah, we got to see the legendary.
So I mean, they could completely rig this thing and give Shield the greatest legendary ever, and give Sword something really lame.
Yeah. Okay.
Or it's two wolves, that have slight variations. So we do not know yet. Chicken Morris, Gabe, is going to wrap things up and says, Grookey Gang, Grookey Gang, Grookey Gang, Grookey Gang, and I feel like I'm in a Lil Pump song.
Yeah, I am not on Grookey Gang, but, there are dozens of you out there. I see you.
There are way more than dozens, but we got to wait for those evolutions. That's going to pick our starters for us, and I hope that their next PR blast picks up the momentum, because it does feel like this was such a shining moment. It was such an exciting part of the year, knowing that this was coming at some point, getting it so early in February, awesome. And then this big world revealed, and it promise, and Gen 8, and getting to see the starters and this new art style, and then it kind of just fell apart piece by piece, like a Jenga tower built slowly but surely and crumbling very, very quickly. And I hope that they're able to pick the pieces back up and revitalize a lot of the hype. It feels low right now. I'm genuinely shocked, because normally I'm the disappointed one, and everyone else is like, what are you talking about? It's great. But as you can see from these comments, and I promise you, we looked through all of them, it was 90+% all like this. Fans are wary, and they were wary last year. They're wary this year. How will it end up? It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. I think the tides are going to turn the same way they did with Let's Go. People are going to end up really liking the experience because they know how to make good experiences over there. I don't know. We'll see.
We will have to wait and see. Thank you so much for all of your comments, your thoughts, your ideas, your questions, your concerns. Keep them coming. We love to hear from you, and we'll probably pull together another batch once more information is revealed. For now, though, thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Let us know what you thought of these takes, if you've got something different, if you agree. We are curious. In the meantime, though, for myself and Gabe, thanks so much for watching. Have a great one. SwitchForce out.